subscribe for more videos.
Disney's Frozen Northern Lights. Chapter 3, the final chapter. Let it glow. Autumn was almost gone. The chilly night air reminded Little Rock and his friends that winter was close. They had to find Grandpappy and get Little Rock's tracking crystal to glow before sunrise. Then he could participate in the Trolls Level 1 crystal ceremony. "I'll bet there's a great clue just around the bend," said Kristoff. Little Rock smiled. "Let's get tracking." Little Rock hunted for clues as the group headed up the mountain. Suddenly he noticed a funny-looking bump under the snow. He quickly dug down deep. "Look," he said, popping up with an axe and a rope. "So that's where they were," Kristoff said. He had lost his axe and rope last spring. "I tracked some important stuff," said Little Rock. "You found some important stuff," said Kristoff, placing the items into Sven's saddlebag. "That's not tracking, remember?" Little Rock nodded. He had made the same mistake before. Tracking was a difficult skill, but Little Rock needed to work it out. Otherwise, his tracking crystal would never glow. "But you did show some inventive thinking," said Anna, "and that's one of the rules of tracking, right?" "Yes," Little Rock answered, "along with fearlessness and observation." Kristoff smiled. "Would you like to hear a story about how I was inventive back when I was young?" Little Rock nodded again. So as they began hiking, Kristoff started his story. "One night, when I was a child, Sven and I were out harvesting ice. The northern lights were very bright and they were reflecting on the surface of the frozen lake. Sven was trying to catch the reflections. He carried on chasing them for a while until he finally caught one." Kristoff paused before adding, "with his tongue." Sven groaned in embarrassment while everyone else giggled at the story. "He was completely stuck, so I tried pulling him and pushing him, but nothing worked. His tongue just stretched and stretched. I reached for my ice pick, but he didn't like that idea. I had to come up with a better idea. I had to be inventive. So I grabbed a teeny tiny ice pick instead." Kristoff grinned. "And I chipped away at the ice very gently, all around his tongue, until a little circle popped out. Sven pulled the ice into his mouth and it melted. Then he was free." "Yay!" said Olaf. "Sven gave me a big icy cold lick and we sat there staring up at the colourful lights in the sky." Little Rock laughed. "That is such a great story about the northern lights," he said. He wished he had a good story to share. Suddenly, the friends spotted a trail of footprints that curved around the mountain. They followed the trail until they came to the base of a giant waterfall. There, Anna spotted a mossy cloak. Everyone agreed it was Grandpappy's. "He must have dropped it as he climbed the cliff," said Elsa. They gazed up, wondering how they would do the same. Sven put his tongue in the rushing water. Then he did it again. Kristoff instantly understood. "He's saying that Elsa should freeze the waterfall," he explained. "Remember the story?" "What an inventive idea, Sven," said Little Rock. Elsa waved her arms, and the roaring water froze solid. "Now we can climb up," said Kristoff. Kristoff handed Anna spikes for her shoes and an ice axe. "I've always wanted to climb a frozen waterfall," she said. With their gear in place, Anna and Kristoff began to scale the waterfall, digging their spikes into the ice. "Be careful, Anna," called Elsa. "I can do this," said Anna, striking the ice with her axe and pulling herself up. When Anna and Kristoff made it to the top, they threw the rope down. Elsa tied it around Sven and then helped Olaf sit on Sven's head. "This is so much fun," said Olaf, holding Sven's antlers as they slowly started to rise up the waterfall. Once Sven and Olaf reached the top, they all hoisted up Little Rock. But before they could throw the rope down again, Elsa had used her magic to build stairs. When they asked why she hadn't done that in the first place, she explained, "You were all so excited to climb the waterfall. I didn't want to spoil anyone's fun." They all agreed it was a lot of fun. "Kristoff and Sven," Little Rock said, "because you were so inventive with the waterfall, you deserve to carry my water crystal." Little Rock took one of the glowing crystals he'd already earned out of his pouch and handed it to them. Kristoff promised to keep it safe. From the top of the waterfall, they followed the trail as it climbed higher and higher. Soon the air became thick with fog, and although Little Rock was nervous, he kept going. When they reached the mountain peak, a figure appeared in the mist. Little Rock excitedly ran over and threw his arms around it. "Grandpappy!" he exclaimed. Kristoff cleared his throat and gestured towards the real Grandpappy. Little Rock was confused. He looked at the moss-covered rock he was hugging and then back at Grandpappy. "I found him!" he exclaimed, running towards Grandpappy and giving him a giant hug. "I tracked you!" "Hello, Little Rock," said the kindly old troll. Little Rock anxiously pulled out his tracking crystal and his face fell. It was still dull. "I bet there's just something wrong with the crystal," Kristoff said. "Yes, there must be something wrong," agreed Anna. "No, that's not it," sighed Little Rock. "I have something to say. I'm just not good at tracking." Little Rock held up the dull crystal and sighed. Then he explained that he would never have found Grandpappy without his friends. "If anyone here has earned a tracking crystal, it's all of you. Not me. I needed you, my friends, to get here." Suddenly, Little Rock's tracking crystal started to glow. "Look," said Anna, pointing at the shimmering crystal. "But I didn't earn it," said Little Rock. Grandpappy nodded. "Actually, you did. You worked out what it takes to be a good tracker." For Little Rock, that meant understanding that he needed help from his friends, and that realization made the crystal glow. Just then, the other young trolls came out of hiding, cheering, "Hooray for Little Rock!" Grandpappy and the trolls had been waiting for Little Rock to find them and earn his final crystal. Now it was time for the crystal ceremony to begin. As Grandpappy called for all the young trolls to gather around him, Little Rock looked shyly at his friends. "Oh, I need my other crystals now," he said. Little Rock's friends had been keeping his other crystals safe. Kristoff gave back the water crystal. Then Anna, Elsa and Olaf handed over the crystals Little Rock had given them. With the glowing stones in his hands, Little Rock joined the other young trolls around Grandpappy. As Grandpappy lifted his arms into the air, all the trolls raised their crystals. The northern lights reflected the colours of the crystals, and the lights bounced back into the sky slightly brighter. But not as bright as Grandpappy had hoped. "Mind if I try something?" Elsa asked. Elsa waved her arms and her magic curled into the sky, creating a giant snowflake. It sparkled as it turned, reflecting the northern lights back into the sky and all around them. Olaf hopped with excitement. "It's a rainbow!" he gasped. Elsa and Anna's dresses shimmered too. "Well, now," said Grandpappy, "that is so much better." Thanks to the young trolls, the northern lights were shining strongly again, and everyone knew what the bright lights meant. Little Rock had succeeded in his quest. Wow, what a great story that was. Make sure you read all 3 chapters with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Mama and me, Playtime! Please subscribe for more videos.